Good morning, students. It's Dr. Ajay Deshmukh. Today, we'll begin with our BCom second year syllabus for compulsory English. Students, this year you have a textbook for your syllabi, and the textbook is entitled as English for Entrepreneurs. For this, we have two sections. In one section, we have business communication. This is the books you can see here. So this book deals with the two sections, and it talks about in part one it talks about business communication, whereas in the second part it talks about pros for business inspiration. Now, for interest purpose or to understand what exactly entrepreneurship is or how the entrepreneurs are encouraged, we need to understand the stories of great entrepreneurs. So for understanding the motivations, encouragements and inspirations behind entrepreneurs, we have in our syllabus some stories or some background to understand the entrepreneurship. And that is why in the section 2 of pros for business inspiration, you will come to know that how these people have been encouraged, and we can get motivated by their stories. For this, we have 10 lessons of what we can say. These are kind of articles, newspaper articles or essays, somewhat informative write-ups, and some of the incidents from their lives, or some of the lessons deal with the memoirs of the affiliations with their superiors, like we have in Sudhamurthy's case, Apro JRD. Some of the lessons they talk about the experiences that these people have got, like we have when ideas make money, or another important lesson we have here is the man who emailed the world, where we learn the story of Sabir Bhatia, who created Yahoo Mail, and then how it became one of the best mail services, and then how Microsoft overtook that. So, for the beginning purpose, I feel that it would be nice enough to start with such wonderful stories for your understanding, for keeping you interested in this new year of new learning. So today, what I feel that I should talk about somewhat how entrepreneurs should be educated. And for this purpose, we have one wonderful essay by Arthur Helps. If you could see here, you can understand. Uh, okay, let me begin with the presentation here. So this is what I feel is the necessity of the time, and I hope that in COVID-19 scenario, we all will be safe, uh, not away, though distanced. We'll be happy to be connected with each other through the information and technology. So let's begin our journey of a new exploration of wonderful experiences of the successful people all over the world. Uh, the lesson we have here is on the education of a man of business, and it is by Arthur Helps. Uh, this is one of the wonderful essays written by this person called as Arthur Helps, and it talks about the education that is necessary, or what we can say, training that a person who wants to be a businessman, he should learn a few things, certain values, or certain outlooks he should inculcate for himself for being a successful entrepreneur. So let's begin with this essay. If you have any queries, you can email me on the email ID that you can see on the screen. So the objectives for these lessons, after learning this lesson, what you will be acquainted with. So the aim behind introducing this chapter to you is the desired qualities in a successful businessman and training him into it. Then another objective of this lesson can be cited as to emphasize on the training and its outcomes after proper education of a man, of a businessman, mm, of a business. Then what will be the learning outcomes? What you will learn after understanding this lesson? At the end of the day, what you will take away with you at your home? So after learning this essay, students would be able to understand the need of education of a man of a business, the various elements included in the training of a businessman, and the qualities and its impact on personal and professional life of a businessman. Understand the final outcome of training that should be given to businessmen. And this, I hope, after learning this lesson, you will be quite, what we can say, acquainted with these deep insights into the training of a person who aspires to be a businessman. Let's begin. This is the author. Author helps. He is an English historian, essayist, and a novelist who is best known for his essays on social and intellectual subjects. During his time, he has also attempted to write some dramas, but he was not successful. But his essays were quite popular during his times, and that is why we have that essay in our syllabus. Uh, while understanding about Arthur, he was born in 1813 and he died in the year 1875. He has many essays or literary works to his credits, like Thought in the Cloister and the Crowd, then Friends in Council, The Spanish Conquest of America, or Realba, and The Life of Columbus, and the Queen Victoria's Leaves from a Journal of Our Life in the Highlands. So these are his famous works. You can talk about them or you can search about them on the Google. You can get them there. These are the some of famous work that we have just cited, and you can see the cover pages of these all works. Uh, this essay particularly that we are learning today is from essays written in the intervals of business. As you can understand how this essay is integral part of this book. Uh, Now, what this essay is all about? When we begin learning such essays, you can say that how this essay would influence our understanding. As you all students belong to commerce faculty, and it is expected that one fine day after completing this degree, you will be able to have your own startup. You will be a businessman, or somewhere you'll start your own um, business where you will be self-reliant, and this helps you to make it more positive in the sense. And that is why pedagogicians, they wanted to give you training into the deep insights into this particular area. So here he talks about the temperament of a man of a business and how he should develop the decision making capacity. He also talks about the sense of responsibility that a businessman should have. On the other hand, he also talks about the moral qualities that a businessman should have. And then how these all things, his decision making process, then the way he thinks, the way he classifies various facts, and then he gathers the information, he arranges that in a particular sequence. These all things we'll learn in this particular lesson. So the next thing that would be that you should learn is how a businessman should be morally sound, professionally well equipped with various qualities. At the same time, he should have impact on others, influential. He should develop his characteristic, his own personality that would influence others. The most important thing that a businessman has is a clarity of vision, because if you have this clarity in vision, your thoughts and in your actions, definitely you will act properly and you will overcome so many challenges and you will be successful as a businessman. Then how your ideas can be categorized meticulously to get professional benefits. Then what exactly are the qualities for a businessman? Essential qualities. Here helps talks about the moral qualities. And the first thing that he talks is love for truth or love of truth. Now, what do you mean by love of truth? This is most important thing. See, what we think that others should speak truth to you, but when it comes to you, you try to escape from this. So, for a good businessman, you should develop the habit of speaking truth. This is very important, because a businessman, if he speaks truth, he loves truth, and he has this transparent attitude in his business, he will get more connected with the whole network of businessmen. And surely when your network is strong, you will be successful. So this moral quality called as love for truth is very important. Then he talks about the charity. Now, why charity? There's a saying that charity begins at home. We always uh, talk about charity, but it is for others, not for you or not for me when I think of myself. But one should think of charity that should begin from your own self, because it purifies your heart. And this purification of heart is very essential, because it would help you to get connected with people without any prejudices. It will help you to get connected with other people very soundly, that would strengthen your position in the market. And third thing is goodness and wisdom. This goodness is overall as a human being, as a businessman, as an entity of this social group. And wisdom means where you have accommodation for others, others' views, others' approaches. So this wisdom will help you to understand other people also, and it would help ultimately to get away with all challenges. It will help you to overcome all barriers that can uh, keep you away from your success. Then there is another formation, means another thing that should be kept in mind while you train yourself, or when you talk about the training of businessmen, and this is formation of principles. Now, what do you mean by principles? We all talk about certain kind of ideals, certain kinds of rules and regulations that we bound ourselves. We try to work on them, we try to act on them, because they help us to go straight in the direction of our objective, of in the direction of our goals. These principles are like rudder and compass. As we know, if a ship is lost into the ocean, only compass would help the sailor to go in the right direction. So your principles, your tattva would help you to go ahead in the right direction. You may suffer, you know, uh, this is not easy path. You may suffer on many fronts, but there is no shortcut. If you want to groom as a very mature person, you should have your own set of principles and you should never go away from them. These principles would guide you throughout your life. See, People like Mahatma Gandhi, people like Martin Luther King, people like Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, they had their own principles and they devoted their whole life for their principles. They had certain kind of a commitment towards their principles and they proved that they were committed people for it. And these principles have truly guided them to achieve their targets, social, political, uh, for the betterment of humanity. These all things were there. And that is why principles are very important. A good businessman would yield the habits and then he would get the benefits of finding good principles, making them his habits, and ultimately getting the results. These principles are ultimately the results of your observation, your understanding, and learning of life lessons. If suppose a person misbehaves with you, how should you tackle with him? In first instance, you would leave him, you will excuse him. But if he misbehaves with you again and again, you find out a principle that you will not forgive him. You will teach him a lesson. And in this fashion, in this way, you find out your own principles. And they help you to tackle the challenges that come into the path of your life. These principles can also be said as the rewards of labor, as one learns and execute them in life precisely. Precisely means very precision, very particularly, typically in the particular fashion, and in a meticulously, without any compromising harmony and integrity of human life. Now, what these words are: harmony, integrity. See, suppose a foolish person is trying to make you upset. He yells at you, he curses at you, and you lose your temper. So that means you lose your harmony, you lose your personal integrity. So one should not let it happen. One should be very calm while tackling such kind of people. And this is aptly with the businessman also. You might have observed that great people, they don't lose their temper so easily. But when they lose, there is a change. History changes. And that is why one should not lose temperament very often because it may harm your own self. As I was talking about the temperament of man of business, what is this temperament? Now, this temperament means your mental makeup. How do you think? And when you think, how you perceive the ideas, how you perceive the notions, the people, their approaches, and how you confront. This confrontation means in times of crisis. For example, all of a sudden you have been faced with a disappointment. As for example, as we are suffering today in COVID-19. What is this? We had never imagined life like this. Imprisoned. We are in self-imprisonment. We are in self-exile. We are, limited to our house. All of a sudden we became panic about our hygienic, our health. We are just thinking too much about death, suffering that comes with COVID-19, coronavirus. But one should develop strong character, strong temperament. And this comes when you are hopeful for your future. And this hopeful or hope helps you to cope with the failures. Even if you fail in your attempts, be optimistic because that was not the last one. Just go ahead. Just don't give up. Just one more kick and the door will be opened. This hope will help you to overcome your anxiety. Sometimes, we become anxious, we become depressed and we think negatively. Everything in the world for us is negative, the black, the blue, and we don't think that there's a hopeful future. But sun will rise again after dark night. So one should have this temperament. And in business, you need this because you never know how your business will be collapsed. And this COVID-19 scenario is exactly, this is a kind of a practical lesson, case study for all of us, how to manage the stress, how to overcome the barriers, how to, bounce back, coming back again, fighting against all odds. And for this, you should have calm and cool attitude. This calm and cool attitude would help you to think positively, to handle the pressures and expectations of your peers, of your loving people, of your society, of your family. And with this calm and cool attitude, what happens? You develop your proper positive temperament, and it helps you to provide a way against the defects in you. Suppose if there are some imperfections in me, what happens? What happens? If suppose I don't know mathematics, but if I have friends in mathematics, they can help me. But for getting friends, I need friendly attitude. So if I have this temperament of making friends, preserving them, right, and nurturing their friendship, what I helps me then? It helps me that my friends in from mathematics side, they would help me to sort out my issues. So my defects would be complemented by my friends. In this way, temperament helps you to have bounding, bonding with others, with their imperfections, with your imperfections. We make each other perfect. So we all have imperfections, but our imperfections make each other perfect. So in company, together, we are perfect. So this temperament, this interdependence is very important for a businessman because this temperament would help him to go smoothly in his business. Then what do we have? Now suppose we are talking about, you might have learned about the story that a person who was, drowning, and he said that God would save me. A person came and said that, come, I will save you. He said, no, God will come to save me. Another came. He said that, come, I am here to save you. He said, no, God will come to save me. But what happened ultimately to him? He died. And when he confronted God, he said, why did you come to save me? God said, I came twice, but you didn't decide that this is God. So God has his own divine ways to perform his duties. So if he would have made that decision, he would have done that. Even in today's scenario, if you don't decide properly, then you will suffer major loss. So one should think about oneself first, about his own business, because sometimes you have to be selfish. Selfishness in a positive way. Because when you're doing business, that means you're there to make a profit, to survive amid the hostile nature of society. At the same time, you have to feed your own family. You have to provide bread and butter of two times to your own family. So you have to be selfish at up to certain point of time. Then at the same time, you have to make the habit of deciding for oneself. So don't rely on others. Don't allow others to make judgments for you, to make decisions, to make choices for you. Even if you make wrong choices, even if you make bad decisions, even if you face failures of making such decisions, these are your own decisions. So just make it a habit of deciding for your own self because it will help you to come up with a person who can think, who can decide for himself, who can think about many choices surrounded by him, many options. And after proper training, after proper observation and experiences in making decisions, one fine day you will take proper decision. So for that, you have to. Now, what is this? Decision making is actually essential to deal with realities. And what it needs, you need to analyze people, context, situations, problems. It is, rather difficult to understand people because people may fake. They may be very friendly to you on your face, but they may hatch plot against you. What you see may be different from what actually is. So one has to, you know, there should be coordination with your eyes, with your ears, and with your brain. So heart and mind should be working together. Then one should understand the problem, the nature of the problem, the dimensions of the problem, why, who, when, where. These questions should be asked. And when you find out the answers of this question, you'll ultimately come with the solution. And when you come with the solutions, you'll make right choice. You'll make decision, right decision. So, decision making means it's all about making choices, whether bad or good. Sometimes you have good choices, right choices. So you have to make more right, more correct choice. And sometimes you have all the bad options. So you have to make less bad option as your choice. Sometimes you have all wrong options to be chosen. So at such point of time, you have to choose less wrong than others. So it would help you to get the solutions with your decision making process. And it is often said that a wrong decision made on time is better than decision never made. So what it tells that you might made a decision wrongly, but that decision was right maybe in the future. But if you don't decide that particular moment, that may cause great damage to your future. So making a decision at the right time is very essential for everyone, and in particular context with businessmen, it is very essential. When to sell, how to sell, where to sell. Then for example, take the share market. Share market is, quick decisions should be made, and these quick decisions would help you to get good amount in your account. So this decision selling and purchasing the shares of companies in a proper time, the exact precision of the time would help you to get more money. So decision making is very essential factor in this. Then what is this? Developing the capacity of reasoning. The word reasoning is very essential here. If you read it carefully, you will come to know reasoning means satsad vivek buddhi, or you can say common sense. And when you say satsad vivek buddhi or common sense, what that means? That means it is a belief system that is very scientific and rational. You think rationally without any prejudice. Prejudice of being belonging to a particular caste, creed, gender, race, nation, language, black or white, nothing like this. As a human being, as a person, you believe in that person, and that is rational thinking. So there is no blind faith. So reasoning helps you to become more scientific. And when you become more scientific, you become more methodical. You attain the universality, and that is the element of universality. It makes your mind agile. Agile means very fast, to think fast without any delay. And it provides variety of information to you because you're open to understand people, you're open to understand their views, you're ready to understand the criticism that people criticize you. So this rationality is very important. So reasoning is very crucial thing that you should develop as a businessman. Then what it makes you acquire? It helps you to acquire many modes of thoughts. Now see what happens. A closed person, closed means a rigid person, an orthodox person. He thinks that the system I believe in is right, and that is the ultimate one. There's nothing more than that. But a person who has reasoning, who has open thinking, who has open mind, what it says, if I have this belief system, there may be some different, sometimes in contrastive situations, sometimes in a different way people may think. So I'm open to understand their thoughts. I'm open to understand the various classes of facts. So when I say in India there's a day, equally in America there's a night. So you can't deny this fact. This is geographical fact. But I have to admit that if there is a morning here, somewhere at the other side of the globe, there is evening. So you understand the classes of facts. And the most important thing that convinces you or that percolates that you become more accommodative. You It helps you to enable to understand men or other people in a better way, in a more positive manner. Now, for this, one has to uh, study philosophy and metaphysics. Now, you might have heard about the word physics. This is the science subject that we study. What do you mean by metaphysics then? Meta means beyond. Physics means physical nature. So beyond physical nature. So when you say beyond physical nature, and philosophy means philia, mm, there are certain kinds of illnesses like homophilia. They have, kind of philia means love, and sophia means wisdom. So philosophy means wisdom or love for wisdom, and metaphysics means beyond physical nature. And if you combine these two, you will come to know that somewhere we are trying to understand the things which are beyond our control, which are beyond our physical nature. The feelings like love, feelings like hatred, friendship, the relationships, and various layers of human existence. So, together with imagination and philosophy, it can help you to get some practical knowledge. And here helps Arthur helps the essayist, the writer of this essay. He talks about the essays written by Francis Bacon. If you read the essays of Francis Bacon, you'll come to know that he talks about the human nature, the practical and sublime values, as well as virtues of human beings to understand the various dimensions of life. For example, his essays on friendship, he talks about the friendships, how people become friends, how they behave, how they engage in the relationship, the belief system in a friendship. Then, what is marriage? How they get into this relationship of marriage, and how marriage survives. Then, what do you mean by love? How people love each other. At the same time, the opposite of that, hatred. How people, hate each other. What are the ingredients that are included in the feeling of hatred, and what exact changes you have in your physical and mental processes when you hate somebody or when you love somebody. So uh, philosophy and metaphysics gives you a very comprehensive understanding of the nature of human existence. So businessmen should have acquaintance with this metaphysics and philosophy. Another thing is that when you think rationally, when you think professionally, scientifically, what it means, you classify the facts, right? And when you observe the situation, you analyze it, you classify the things, you classify the events, you bifurcate them. And when you do this, what happens? you are thinking methodically. For example, if I gave you a basket of fruits and I asked you to do it nicely, and there are some carrots, there are some bananas, there are some oranges, there are some apples. What do I asked you? I say that just make it, arrange them in a proper way. So what you'll do, you will arrange carrots in one pile, another pile there would be bananas, in third pile there would be oranges, then apples, and like this. This means you're classifying things according to their physical nature or their common characteristics. So when you think rationally, when you apply your brain scientifically, you develop your own methods, your own methodology. So this is very important for a businessman. Oh, as a human being, as a growing, matured human being, one should learn this. So one should understand the importance of learning to arrange and express the acquired knowledge. You see the world, you see many people, you experience them, you understand the situation, and then what happens, you acquire some information, and when that information gets percolated in your psyche, then that becomes knowledge. And when you get that knowledge, you arrange it. So when you face similar type of situation, you gather that information, you apply that into the particular context, and you prepare yourself for that situation. So this is developing your own method of thinking. So what you have to do, you digest the situation, understand it, summarize it properly, get it understood, then go to the crux of the matter. See what is essential, what is unwanted things should be sorted out, they should be thrown away. So it's like winnowing. Winnowing means what? Pakadne. We call it as a pakadne. So what mother does when is winnowing that, she removes that unnecessary things. Only lentils, only rice, or only wheat is there. So man should learn to do this. Then you have to learn to arrange and classify the materials. This is very essential. And the next thing is that writing narratives. Now, what do you mean by these writing narratives? This means you have to write your own methods. Means decide what these conflicting situations are. What are the conflicting evidences are? Sometimes your brain says one thing, your heart says one thing, and we say that dvidha manastiti, dvidha paristhiti is there. So you have to work out these conflicting situations. Sometimes they are contradictory, but you have to understand them and decide. The next thing is that, like, ordering them in a sequence, one, two, three. First, what comes, then next, then the last thing, and arrange them in a logical manner. So you can understand, and then you can decide for that. And this would help you to develop your own methods. Many of you have been working in the farms, so you know when rain would be there, or what to do when rain comes, or how to survive your crop. So this is not all of a sudden. Farmers, they develop these methods by observing the nature, the changes in nature, and with some scientific help, they develop their own methodology to get new species of crop. This is very essential. Now, this I have purposefully kept it blank. This blankness sometimes, this means the clarity in your views, thoughts, and approaches. That means you have clear vision. There is nothing, no opaque thinking. You can be transparent. You can see throughout it. R par you can see. And this helps you to analyze the situation within friction of time. So a businessman should have this in his action, in his thoughts, and in his decisions. Now, the another important thing is fluency. Now, what is this fluency? Fluency in writing. Fluency doesn't mean the flow of words. See, uh, When I speak very fluently, you may after listening to my speech you may say sir speaks very fluently in English, but this fluency is less important than the fluency in your thoughts. When words come to you, when thoughts come to you and you can understand them, you can materialize them on the paper. This is very essential, and this fluency would give a businessman edge over others. It would help him to be better than other businessmen. So uh, you should put your ideas, your thoughts on the paper, articulate them properly, arrange them properly, and that would become the blueprint of your dreams, of your business. Uh, then when you do this, when you plan, you prepare the blueprint, you can practice it carefully. You can rehearse it again and again till you master that. And when you master that, no one would defeat you. So, this habit of expressing one's thoughts with accuracy, brevity, readiness, and with style is very essential. Now, accuracy means say what you want to say. If you need 2 words, use only 2 words. Don't use 10 words. Brevity is the same. Accuracy means don't use wrong words. Brevity means if you can express that in 2 words, speak 2 words only. Don't use 10 words because that won't help you to mm, um, meet your goal. Then readiness means you should be alert always to face, to overcome the challenge that may erupt suddenly, and it will shake you. So before that, you should ready. Just guess what changes would be there, and this readiness would help you to become good businessman. And the style, style is man. It is said style is man because every person is unique, every individual is unique, and this uniqueness becomes the style. The way I think, the way I speak, the way I carry myself, the way I wear the dress, my dress habits, my eating habits, the way I speak to my friends, the way I behave with my elders. This makes my style and this makes my personality. So one should be very careful while these all things, working on these all things. And style, sometimes simplicity is great thing. Plainness. There should be no roundabout the way. In course of time, we are learning about Ratan Tata, J.R.D. Tata. These great people, they are the emblem of simplicity. Plainness is there. So they they are loved by all people, and there's a precision in their action. They don't overdo. They don't do things roundabout the way. So this fluency in writing, fluency in your thoughts, fluency in action is very important for the education of a man of business. Then at the end of the day, what you understood with this, if you encompass these all qualities, you can become a good businessman. What it will help you? It would help you to fix your attention on the details. See, some people, they just see and they understand what is the matter. So one should learn to have details. One should learn to note down the details. So for this, you need to develop the observation skill. Observe, note it down, think on that, and then you'll come to know various things like detectives. Detectives, they have this skill, noting the details, and that is how they solve the cases. Then one should learn, one should be ready to give hearing, patient listening to the arguments. One should not lose temper. You uh, uh, this can be compared with your mother. Means all the time in your childhood days, you might have bothered your mother and father too much. And if you have, bothered too much, your father might have slapped you, but your mother has very compassionate attitude towards you because she loves you without any condition. That is unconditional love. And she listens to every argument that you speak to her. So become an active listener, because active listening would help you to understand the situation. Might be the person who is speaking to you, he might give you clue to understand the scenario, to understand the problem, and within those words may have the solutions. So one should be ready to give hearing to the arguments. Practice your intellect. Means don't think always from emotions, or just don't behave abruptly. Use your brain. Try to understand situation. Try to study the surroundings. Apply your logic, apply your intellect, and then take decision. Be strong in disciplines. When you for As we have talked about the formation of principle, be strong, because your principles would help you to survive amid great crisis. And we learn that in the lessons like Narayan Murthy, Infosys director. Then develop methods. We have already talked about. Chalk out your own ways to deal with the problems. Then be courageous. Don't lose your heart, because हर रात की एक सुबह होती है. So every night ends. Just think that there will be another sun at the end of this night. So just you have to be courageous to cross, to travel through this night, through this darkness. Then be stout hearted. Means become bade dil wala. Be patient. Patient means what? Don't lose your temper. Because if you lose your temper, you will lose people also. You will lose your business also. So just stay where you are. Then one should be very vigorous. Vigorous in imagination, vigorous in efforts, but this should be in a disciplined manner. These efforts or this imagination should not be childish, because there's very thin line being a child and being a fool sometimes. So one should be a disciplined, vigorous in imagination and efforts. Then plan boldly and execute calmly. Boldly means one, take challenges, take risk, but execute them properly. So you may take risk, but your courage, your proper planning, your methods would help you to steadily go ahead and get the results. Then let the opportunities grow. A trained businessman, he lets the opportunities grow before his eyes and then seizes them when right. For example, if you have a manufacturing business, suppose you are farming and you have too much tomato crop. What you do when you have too much tomato crop? Others too have that. But if you think differently, if you think clearly, positively, and ahead of your times, what you do, you will process those tomatoes. You will process those tomatoes into sauces. You will make tomato purees out of that. And then you will have another side business, linked business with your farming. So you seizes them and you encashes them when you have too much crop of tomato. So a good businessman, he lets the opportunities grow before his eyes and seizes them when they're ripe. One should not get shaken with failures. It might be possible, sometimes your plans may fail, sometimes your strategies would fail, sometimes we say that I'm unlucky, your bad luck would be there. Overall, Unexpectedly, you may face failures, but don't lose your heart. Be courageous, be calm, be cool. Just be bold to go ahead steadily, positively, and your cool mind will give you solution, remedy to sort out the problem. The problems you will sort out properly, and then you will be successful. So have a deep sense of responsibility when you have this, because a responsible person will never commit mistake, because before acting on that particular thought he will think thousands of times what it will result into. So when you have a responsible thinking, when you have a responsible attitude, you will you will be a person who make the world proud of you, who will make the world survive amid crisis. And then finally, believe in the power of vitality of truth. We often say that सत्य परेशान हो सकता है पर पराजित नहीं. So don't go with the shortcuts. Follow the path of truth. What is good, what is legal, what is morally legal, and what is illegally legal. So one should never fall out from the path of truth. And what it will help you? It will give you diligence, means you will take efforts steadily without break. It will bring you accuracy, and you will be on high alert, cautious about everything, discreetness. Finally, a person who is trained being a businessman would focus on the moral qualities, character development, then love for truth, the charity. Because when you earn, you give back to the society. You might have heard about the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. What it does? These people earn too much, but there is a point of time when they give back to society. And this is the advice that J.R.D. Tata gave to Sudhamurti. He says that you will be successful, don't worry. But when you will be successful, give back to society in the form of charity. And you learn this in your commerce subject as corporate social responsibility. This corporate social responsibility means these businessmen, they earn money, they make profits from common man, and when they make profit, they ultimately give their own share to society. So it would also help you to develop your own formation and own belief system, your own principles in your personal life and your professional life. And this is, reflected in the motto and what we can say, the thematic tagline of that particular company. So we have, as we have Satyameva Jayate, this is our motto, or what we can say, we live by that truth. So this is very crucial. It reflects the personal and professional outlook. Then what helps? This training would help you to shape your own temperament, the personality, along with the characteristics or the qualities like decision making, reasoning, the deep interest in the study of philosophy and metaphysics. It also helps you to develop the clarity of thoughts, clarity of action, and this education definitely brings scientific and rational attitude to tackle the problems in a very meticulous manner, in a very, smoothly you do that. And then you get fluency in your writing, in your thinking, and even in your actions. And you act logically, you think logically, you write logically. And a businessman should be logical, because he should know, he should not make any nonsensical decisions. That's why this is very crucial quality that he should develop. So a man of business should develop the elements of brevity, aptness, accuracy in thoughts and expression. You might have seen that if you go into the chamber of a managing director, uh, you will come to know that this man, he speaks few words because he doesn't want to entertain any Tom, Dick, and Harry. His time is very precious, and that is reflected in his thoughts, in his actions, and in his words also. So these all qualities overall would help you to groom into a successful businessman in this world. So here, what we have learned that various facets of training that a businessman should have to become a successful entrepreneur. So students, we'll catch up once again tomorrow with another topic, another interesting story, another dimension of shaping your personality. For time being, I take your leave. We'll resume tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.